All right, good morning. So in this video, I'm working with Funky Blues. As he's a very, he's two, a little over two, and very aware of something that was really big for him, as we've talked about indirect pressure, direct pressure, and steady pressure. So that steady pressure and that indirect pressure have been really kind of like his things that he's got to really work through, and we need to kind of teach him that it's okay and he doesn't have to be worried about that. So we've gotten through some things, like I can take this line, which this was difficult for him, and I can put it over his back. You know, we started with the flag, and what I want him to do is stay relaxed and not worry about this. Where before, when we do this, he would want to just take off and get away from the direct pressure to steady pressure. So direct pressure going over to his back and then just staying there. So we're getting that down. So now as we do that, we're going to incorporate the ball just as something that's going to be moving around him, and we don't want him to be worried. So if I have the ball, I'll just kind of start to walk it around and see his curiosity of the ball. And I don't want him to be worried, but more curious. Good boy. So he's also a lot more protected and guarded on the right side than the left side, because we do most of our stuff with him on the left, and he hasn't had a lot of experience with leading and things like that. So I just want to be able to come to this side of him and have him be okay with that. Good boy. Having me more curious about the ball, so now I might just bounce it a little bit. We're adding sound to it now. Then I might just see if I can let it just bump into him and see what he does. So you saw he lifted that leg a little bit, just out of curiosity. A little bit of like, not sure if I understand what this is, but we want him to be okay if things accidentally might bounce into him. We want to make him as safe as possible, and by doing that, we want him to understand his own emotions and regulating those emotions. So I was going to do that again, but then I saw the licking and the chewing, so he's really learning from this. So I'll come back here and I'll just go through and bounce it. Now I might just run it in there again, like that. Good boy. Doesn't get too worried about that. So now I'm going to come towards the middle of his body. Kind of come towards him here. Good boy. Now what I might do is I might just come up here and touch him with it. Good boy. I might just come up here and touch him. Good. Good boy. Come back up. So he gets a little worried. So I'll bring him back over. So he's a horse that, by nature, he more will freeze and then he'll go into a flight mode. So we want to not ever confuse him just standing there as being relaxed, but is he kind of shutting down and going, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to handle this situation. Ask him to come back over. Good boy. It's all about building the relationship with him. It's going to make him happy and want to engage in more of these things. I might just bounce that off him again. Good boy. Just lift this up, bring it down. Lift this up, bring it down. So if you can see in the video, there's a real slight tension that he gets when I lift that up, and he kind of just moves about a ½ inch with his rib cage. Good, that was better that time. Get up. Head comes up, body moves a little bit when I went a little higher. So these are all things that we want to make sure that we get really dialed in with him, in a sense of him understanding and not being so worried. And if the worry comes out of not knowing, not understanding. So whenever we get worried about things, or we have anxiety things about things, it's because we don't know or understand what the outcome may be or understand what the process is that's happening, right? So that's typically why we go through things in life and we get through there. So, and we all work on it, whether people or horses. So I want to bring this back up, bring it down, maybe I'll roll it into him. Maybe let him check it out. So see how he kind of looks away. Sees another horse over there, bring this up, bring it down. You can see how he's kind of rocked back on his hind end a little bit. He's kind of like anticipating that he might have to leave, so we don't want him to feel that way. Good boy. So I might just bring this up all next to him. I might just say, can I just set this on? Good boy. So I did that while I had another hand on him to kind of help build his confidence and his security. Ask him to walk back over here. Ask him to release off that pressure off the front there. Good boy. I'll do the same thing. I'm going to go up, pet him here. Come back up here with this. Because the big key isn't getting this to happen like at a standstill, it's having him be relaxed at a standstill, and then when we start to create motion with it, he doesn't have a problem with that at motion. Which is why you see sometimes people will just throw a saddle on a horse, and the horse is fine standing there, and then as soon as the horse moves, that saddle shifts and they just kind of lose their mind and go into bucking. That's what we try to eliminate when we start young horses this way. It's to get them to start to understand how it feels at a standstill and how we can start to create motion with that, and their mind and body does not change at all. They stay relaxed. Go back up to him. Now I'm going to let this ball just fall off of him and see how he reacts to that. Good boy. So I like that reaction, which is no reaction. So now that I have this ball up here, I might just ask him to turn towards me. We're going to start talking about motion now. So can I get him to move with this ball on him? Good boy. Take it off of him. Let him understand that that's not a bad thing. Good boy. I'm a big fan of constantly praising them, so we're getting that lick and chew now. So that's a processing for him from what he just experienced with the ball. But remember that like boundaries without love is just as much abuse as love without boundaries. So when we talk about this, is that we want to constantly be helping our horses to feel good about what they just did through love. I'm a big believer of that. So I'm going to come back up here with this ball. Good. I'm going to put it back up here. I'm just going to ask him to take one step towards me again. So I'm going to get his ear because he's focused on the horse outside of the arena. Good. And then I'll take the ball back off. Ask him to take a step towards me. Boy. So you step back over this direction. Good boy. I'm going to go back to here, put that ball on there. Good boy. Now I might roll the ball back and forth a little bit. See how he feels with that. Is it moving a little bit? Good. Now I'm just going to ask him to follow me. He's going to come over this way. I'm going to wait and just see if he wants to roll that hip under. like that and gets a little stuck, his brain is shutting down a little bit and he's just trying to process things. So we want to be very aware of that, because a shut down horse, when they process, can make it seem like that they're just fine and they're doing okay, but it's not really the case. They're just stuck in their thought process, and there's some young horses out there that go into freeze mode or flight mode, and then there's horses this is the really sad thing, is horses that are taught to just be shut down. It's just like in a relationship where you don't feel like you can communicate, and you've got to just kind of like you just kind of go into a space where you just don't know what to say, and so that's what we don't want for him. We want him to feel like he can communicate with us and he can let us know what's going on, and that he feels confident in what he's doing and growing as a young horse. Let me go back over to him. So now I might let that ball drop off of his, I'm going to go to the other side of him actually first, because I know his right side is the harder side for him. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to bounce that ball over here. And the reason I'm doing this, so see how he wants to protect that right side and he backs up. So I'll ask him just to stay there. I'm going to come here. The reason I'm doing this is because in a minute here you're going to see me bounce this ball off of him, let it roll off the other side of him. And so I just want to come to here. Good. But you can see on this side it's a little bit more challenging for him. I'm going to come back to here. Good boy. Put my hand on him. Good boy. Now I might let that ball just fall off of him. Good boy. So now I might come back over to this left side of his. And I might put this ball up here and let it roll off of his right side. So be here. And just let it kind of roll off that side there. Good boy. Good boy. So the gigantic beach ball is kind of fun for these exercises, where you can get them to understand that there's going to be things that are going to be all around them and have different feels to it. And the ball, being large and full of air, allows us to kind of roll it over his body the way that our body would roll over him. So we're going to keep on this little journey with him. It's pretty cool. It's fun. His name is Funky Blues. If you want to follow him in our playlist, you can do that. This is one awesome little horse, and just getting him to start to be more relaxed and not so worried, not so shut down, because that's like a combination of a horse that we want to make sure that they feel really good within themselves to give us everything that they have to offer. And the more he feels confident, the more he's going to be willing to want to work with us and do things with us. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If so, please click that subscribe button and have a wonderful day.